So welcome back to another video. This is part 2 on the TTS project, and we have got a lot to smash out today, and the things we're going to be doing today are going to keep this TT nice and healthy on the road and also add a nice bit of value to the resale of it. So without further ado, let's crack on with it. So with the car all up in the air, nice and level, it's time to get on some work, and we're going to start with the cam belt. I mean, that's due at the end of the year, but let's just crack on with it now. Need to move quite a few bits out of the way to access it, so let's crack on. So I first of all remove the lower shield and get 4 of the 6 bolts out of the way just to make sure they come out okay. Remove the alternator belt tensioner, pin that back in place, remove that belt, and then remove the actual tensioner itself. Then I start undoing the cam belt cover, get a jack underneath to take the load off while we remove the engine mount. That big block there, that is your nemesis. It's an absolute pain in the arse, but it will come out. Next, remove the lower bolt from that, jack up the engine, remove the cover, mark up where the belt is originally, make sure it's all at the top dead centre, remove the tensioner, and slide the old belt off. And then we start removing the top idler and replace it with a new one and torque that to spec. And we do the same with the lower idler. Remove that and torque that to spec. So with the idlers both done, it's time to replace the water pump. It's always a good idea to do that while doing the cam belt. So boom, straight swap over so we don't lose too much fluid. And torque that to spec and then feed the new belt over. Start at the top, always go around the crank pulley last. I always transfer some of the marks from the old belt to the new belt, but with it all on, the tensioner in and the tensioner all done, so the little mouth bit is lining up with a little bit in the middle. You'll know what I mean when you do it. Just do a few revolutions of this just to make sure it all lines up and our time is correct. I do this a couple of times just to double check, so to make sure it's all going to be okay. And it's bang on. So now it's time to move on to the cam follower, something that's often overlooked, but we will tackle that on this car. It's on 163,000 miles. I'm not sure if it's on the original, but you never know. So let's have a look at it and see how bad it is, and hopefully it hasn't gone all the way through. Surely we'd hear it if it has, but I'm pretty sure it's okay. I have got a more in-depth video of doing the cam follower, so look at my other videos and you'll see it there. So with the high pressure pull pump pulled out, we can now see the cam follower. It has lost all the ceramic coating on the top, so I think we have got this just in time. So I'm definitely glad we are changing this. So let's get a new one in there. So we clean it all out. I always use a bit of assembly lube in my cam followers. I find it sticks to the cam follower a little bit better than just using engine oil. Obviously put a new seal on as well. A little bit of just normal engine oil around that just to give it a better seal. Put that back on and then we'll all go into torque that to spec. Once we've got that sitting nice and flush. There we go, let's torque it all up. And make sure you plug everything back in. Tighten up the bolt at the bottom. Don't over tighten it, you don't need to hang off it, but obviously make sure it's not loose as well, just sort of nip it a bit. And then put the little valve back in, just with a 13mm spanner. Same again, just nip it, and the little plastic cover. Right, after you do everything, just check to make sure things are working. So here goes. So that's job done. Now on to the next one. So now we're going to move on to the Heldex system, where this one is past due. There's the cover that we need to get to. It's got two, I can't remember if they're hex or splines. I'm thinking they're hex. But we need to whip those off. Absolute pain to get to, exhaust in the way. But it is obviously doable. Clean up all around the area where the filter is before you push it out. You can do this by plugging in VCS and making the pump move a certain procedure, and it does push out this like retaining sort of bit because the actual filter's behind that, or you can put a screw in the end to pull it out. Here's the actual filter. I just want to show you how dirty this filter is. I don't know if the camera's picking up properly, but it's absolutely like sludge inside it. So very glad we're changing this. That's better. So we want to drain from here and fill from here. So you should really undo the fill plug when we do the drain one, just in case, but we've already lost fluid, so it had to come out anyway. It's quite a long bolt. So there's the old fluid coming out, and now I'm attacking the fill one. That is a very tight spot to get in there, so I had to improvise on what tools I was going to use to get in there. But with the fill plug out, we're done. In goes the new filter and the little retaining plastic thing, and then the cover on top. As you bolt it down, it will pull the cover in. Oh, it's out. I've literally been fighting with this pump for over an hour trying to get out. It was proper seized in there. It is out. And the reason we want this out is because we want to change those rings, and also clean this stuff off here, which to be fair is a lot cleaner than what I thought it was going to be. So let me get that cleaned up, whip some new seals on there, and then we can put that back in. So I removed the little white filter thing on the end, gave it a good blowout with the airline, refitted it back on, all nice and clean. And then removed the old seals. I think the back one's a bigger one, the front one's a smaller seal, and then cleaned up all around the little groove areas where the new seals are going to go and sit, because we don't want any leaks. It looks like it's been leaking here before, and I don't want it to leak once I've got this back in. So with the seals all on, it's time to push it back in, and it went in a lot easier than it came out. It was an absolute nightmare getting out. Now it's time to refit a new drain plug, so let's screw that in. And once we've torqued that to spec, we're now going to start filling the fluid up. You need to pump this in quite slowly, because as soon as you start trying to put it in, it just literally just trickles out. But then you need to get your scanner, OBD, whatever tool you're planning on using, VCDS, and you need to go through a procedure, like a bleed procedure, to bleed all the air out of it. So you need to activate the pump for 1 minute. Then you need to engage the Heldex for 3 minutes. You'll hear the pump making a noise like so. Do this procedure about 3 times. It's a little bit long because you have to keep on turning the ignition off, going back, turning it back on again to reset the car so it will do the procedure again. Otherwise I find it wouldn't do it. But with that all done, it's now time to top off the fluid, because it would have gone down while you pumped it around the system. So you just want to top that up until it literally starts trickling out. It is difficult because it does spill anyway, but I've got mine trickling out, so we're going to tighten that up. I could not get a torque wrench in there to tighten that, so just use a bit of common sense. Now clear any fault codes, and that's another job done. Now it's time to do a DSG service. So what I need to do first was remove the airbox, get it out of the way so we've got access to the DSG filter. I have got a more in-depth video of doing a DSG service, so check out my other videos and you'll find it in there. And also I've got a video about we upgraded the DSG cooler as well. With the airbox now out of the way, we have a nice clear view of the DSG filter.
We also need to remove this bracket because it's in the way of getting the housing and the filter out of the way. So I'm going to soak these in WD-40 for a few minutes. So let's get underneath the car and undo the drain stroke fill plug with a 14mm hex. Let's crack that off, and out comes the old fluid. It's quite dirty already considering it's only done 10,000 miles. And also remove the plastic sleeve inside, which does your level. That's an 8mm and it's only made of plastic, so be careful with it. So with the fluid all draining out, I'm going to put the plug back in and turn the car back on for 5 to 10 seconds, and you'll hear why. And look at the state of that extra fluid that just came out.
A lot more fluid comes out if you start up between 5 and 10 seconds and turn it straight off, because it does fling all the crap off the clutch plates. So I always do that, but it's up to you whether you do that.
Now time to focus on the filter. So I'm going to remove that bracket now, as the bolts have been left to soak in a bit of oil, so it is coming off quite easy. So with a 24mm socket we'll remove the housing cover, which will reveal the filter to us. There it is. As you can see all the dirt inside the housing, we are definitely not leaving that there. So obviously that is coming out, so I'm going to clean that and drain that as best as I can before refitting the new filter. We now need to insert a new seal around the housing. So on goes the new seal. Get some fresh fluid out of one of the bottles. Let's pour a little bit in the lid, just so I can use that for extra seal for the housing, and screw that back on and torque that to 20 Newton meters, I believe it is. Now refit the filler sleeve and attach the fill hose. Screw it onto the inside of the bottle and turn it upside down and let gravity do its thing. I find once it's up, the bottle's upside down, just punch a hole in the bottom of it and it just helps speed it up. With all the fluid now in, all 6 litres in, now put the drain plug back in and just nip it up. We won't be torquing it at this stage.
Right, now we need our diagnostics to get the temperature up to, it's got between 35 and 45, so I usually get under here and pull it at 40. So let's get the car running and get up to temperature. Take quite a bit of time to get up to temperature, so it is what it is, but it's worth it because then we know it's done. So I've just put everything in there loosely because obviously I don't want anything getting sucked up into the turbo, but it's like that for a reason, because I've got more things to do, which you'll see in a later video. That will do for now, so let's start it up, get up to temperature. So with it running, you want to go through the gears and hold it in each gear for 5 seconds to let the fluid circulate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, let's wait for it to warm up. 23. This is long, so I'm going to start tidying up when it does that. We're up to 33. 37. Proper long.
So with our temperature now up to 40, let's release the plug, let the excess fluid drain out until we get a nice steady stream. Nearly there. Nearly there. That'll do nicely. So now we're going to torque that up to 45 Newton meters, I believe it is. And now just give that a nice little clean. Happy days.
I think we've had quite a good successful day today. We've done the cam belt, we've done the cam follower, we've done the Heldex, and now we've done the DSG. So we've basically done all of those main big service things. So that's some things out the way. Stay tuned for episode 3. We're cracking with this, put a few little cheeky upgrades in as well. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.